Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gary Dick. Indianapolis-based Elevate Ventures says 2019 was a record year for venture capital deals and investment in Indiana. The 2019 Indiana Venture Report shows that for the first time in a decade, Indiana saw more than 100 venture deals and more than $500 million in annual investment. With more on the record numbers, what they mean, and what's next, pleased to welcome back to the show CEO Chris LaMothe. Chris, is always welcome.
Great to see you, Gary.
Okay, I mentioned the numbers off the top. It was a record year, fourth straight year for record numbers. 2019, a good year.
Yes, 2019 was a fantastic year. Elevate's been blessed to have, this is the fourth record year in a row. But the big story is the number of deals and the amount of dollars going into the deals in Indiana is on an upward trend.
Talk about Elevate Ventures for those who don't know, and your profile at Elevate and your participation in the tech ecosystem. The economy has just skyrocketed in recent years. Talk about the model and what Elevate Ventures is all about.
Yeah, Elevate Ventures invests 21 fund dollars that are set aside by the legislature to invest in startup and early stage companies in Indiana. So we have developed a number of key partnerships in key regions and cities around the state to build that ecosystem around innovation and entrepreneurship. We then invest in those companies.
What I thought was a big takeaway from this too, not only last year, 2019, but your expectation that this year could potentially maybe be even 10% better than last year.
Yes, it's interesting to determine whether we're on an upward trend. We think we are, and actually Elevate Ventures has set some pretty aggressive goals for 2020, and we're working closely. We're a co-investment fund, so we have a lot of partners around the state that co-invest with us in these deals.
How important is that statewide participation? Because I know Elevate, again, has gone to regions all over the state of Indiana, really engaged from an investment standpoint and participation, if you will, standpoint. How important is that in growing that ecosystem?
You know, the reality is I think that a fundamental pillar for most successful regions and communities around our state is going to be embracing innovation and entrepreneurship. It's critical. And so we're very passionate about taking that message out around the state and really building these ecosystems around the state that can lift these communities, lift young people toward innovation, entrepreneurism, and wealth creation.
A lot of big name companies around Indiana, Kinsey Academy, Springbuk, Xylo, Carano, raising money last year. So a lot of big deals, but still, with all the improvement, Indiana still has a fair distance to go to really get competitive nationally.
Yes, well, I think Indiana has an opportunity over the next decade. It might take longer than that to actually become a real player in the Midwest. But we've got a long way to go. When you take a look at the fact that Indiana last year, a record year, represented less than 0.5, less than 0.5% of venture capital investment in our country, it tells you we've got a long way to go. The nice thing is, though, that we've got some momentum going.
Yeah, and the momentum, you know, we report on it every week. But as you mentioned, some of the numbers, the Kaufman's state competitiveness ranking for new entrepreneurs fell actually to almost the bottom of the country.
Yes, it's interesting because while we're moving up in a number of deals and number of investments, Indiana is still at the bottom. We're in the lower 10% of countries around states around the country in entrepreneurism, innovation, and we've got a long way to go.
And it's something that didn't happen overnight. It's not going to be solved overnight. But again, a lot of positive activity in that area. As you look going forward, Chris, as you mentioned earlier, you feel 2020 is going to be a good year, a better year. But what are some of the key initiatives that you are going to look to accomplish in 2020 and 2021 and beyond?
You know, I think that one of the keys that we have to keep in mind is that no one company is capable of turning things around in Indiana, including Elevate. We've got a key role to play. But when you take a look at the partners that we depend on in order for us to be successful, it's incredible. It starts with a governor. So we have a governor in Eric Holcomb who is passionately behind innovation and entrepreneurship, and that's significant. We have a General Assembly that is putting money into the 21 fund that's being used to invest in startup and early stage companies, and then we have partnerships throughout the state that are actually getting behind this, investing in this, and then that's also followed up with a growing venture capital community that is investing with Elevate Ventures and being very prolific in what they're doing.
The country are looking more and more at the Midwest, Indianapolis in particular, and say, hey, there's innovation going on here, so that can't be.
That's exactly right. We're getting a lot more looks and a lot more attention from venture capital, private equity, and even family offices that are looking to Indiana for investment now.
As always, some great perspective from Chris LaMothe, the CEO at Elevate Ventures on the VC landscape in Indiana. Chris, as always, thanks. We'll talk to you soon.
Delighted. Thank you.